Hello, everyone. We are live from Toronto, great place. Today or tonight, I'm hosting this live stream. Is very special, impromptu because I decided like last minute with my good VC friend, Mr. the one and only Mr. Brian and Brady Robot. How Brian?
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, we had a great day together earlier this day. A perfect VC day, as I like to call it. We met up earlier, I think, early afternoon.
Yeah, 1 o'clock or so.
Yeah, you took me to a couple of your favorite places, which is always a pleasure. I'm here for it for a job for a work, but I like to extend my stay because I know it's I'd like to take opportunity, to go to some places where I could find some other stuff that I can barely find in Montreal.
Yeah.
And this is what we, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it a perfect VC day because the weather was kind of cold.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we had snow. We had snow. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was chilly. I had a frozen face after my bike ride home, so I could barely talk. But anyway, it was fine. Other than that, it was great.
yeah. I had a cold as well. I had to go to pharmacy to find some stuff for my nose. Yeah, so legal pharmacy,
Legal pharmacy.
legal pharmacy. Yeah, Rexel pharmacy. Yeah, it was pretty cold over here. Yeah, yesterday was a little bit better. I was like walking around St. Lawrence Market, yeah, for instance, and it was much more less cold. But today, I have to admit, yeah, with that little bit of snowfall, it's nothing like compared to Montreal,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but we still had a great time.
Yep.
Shall we mention the third
Yeah.
person who joined?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you can talk about his real name, but his channel, of course. This is a guy. Actually, I had no idea about his channel, but you posted, Brian. You posted a video, I think, 3 days ago, something mentioning that you already had a VC meetup with him.
Yes.
This is I will post the in the chat. His channel called My Vinyl Attic, and yeah, so we had a pleasure to spend how much 2 hours something with him.
Uh, three maybe three. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
So he
It was
spends a
fun.
lot
Yeah.
of time in the $2 bin record.
Well, what might get to that, but he has an eye for things that I would have overlooked. So
Oh,
we
uh-huh.
could talk about that. But yeah, he
Yeah.
dug out a lot of things from that section.
One question I have: how do you he's the one who reached out to you, or did you find out about his channel? How did you
Um,
guys?
well, in fact, I guess he was. The fact I think he had a different channel name or a different YouTube name before, and he has commented on my videos in the past. And then, if I've got this straight, he started his own channel and commented on some of my stuff, and then coming back and forth. And there, a record came up. Actually, I have it right here. He was talking, and I showed this in a recent video. He talked about this record. It's from
Yeah,
Flood,
flood. Yeah, yeah.
and I said, "Well, that's." I think I said it in my video. I hadn't heard of that before, and so he offered to give it to me. So then we had to arrange to meet up. So we just contacted each other and
Uh-huh.
met at where did we meet? We met at Neurotica Records on College Street, and
Okay. Uh-huh.
we each got a few things there, and so that's how it all transpired. Just me opening my big mouth saying, "Gee, I don't know anything about that record," and he said he had uh, multiple copies of it, so he passed one along to me. So
Yeah, and there is a connection. You said about that. There is a connection with the band we all know about. What's the band again?
yeah, so one of the guys in here, Greg Godovitz, was in a band called Gotto. So he's this guy here was
Yeah.
in a band called Gotto. And I think I also mentioned in my video that some of these people left the band and they were replaced with other people who then subsequently left to form Saga. So
Saga.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no Saga members are in this iteration of the
Uh,
band, but
uh,
they're in later iterations of this band. And I think
uh-huh.
this is honestly a band that I was too young to know about because I had some comments on the video like, "Oh yeah, I know that band. I used to listen to them on the radio," and I guess I wasn't listening to the radio in 1972, so
Uh,
it just passed me by. And that's what's interesting about My Vinyl Attic. He Well, I guess some people just have a different sort of, I guess, experience of music that from different living in different places or being different age. That like he was pointing out bands that I didn't know about. He goes, "Well, that guy went on to form this band and whatnot," and I just didn't really know about that. So it was very generous. I'm happy to have this, and yeah, it was kind of cool. Kind of an interesting meetup.
Yeah, very interesting, very nice guy, and he has a plan. He told me about that. He wants to go on with his channel, talking about maybe a little bit more obscure bands, and yeah, I think he's really into history in general. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. Yeah, to his future content. We already have some people in the chat.
All
Mr.
right.
Trevor, hi. We have Richard over here, hi. And Richie it is a hair and beard channel.
Fact is,
Yeah.
I'm losing my hair, so no, it's not a hair channel at all.
I'm losing my hair too, but it doesn't look like. But yeah. Oh yeah,
That's why
great.
you only ever see me from this angle.
Oh, okay, yeah, got you. So yeah, no, really cool. I think we made exactly the same tour as the one we did when Ben Rankings came over. The three stores. Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Although, did we not go to? I don't know if you're with us. We went to She Said Boom. Were you in She Said Boom with us?
No.
That was
No.
Jason Skills. Low Noise
Yeah.
Jason Skills came with us to that one. But yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, those are the three record stores you'd visit on Spadina. So
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense. And too bad Rotate This is a little farther away because that's a must visit as far as I'm concerned. But
I have to go. I had to go back after we met. Yeah. I went back a little bit later because I had a call. I got a call where my friend, so Stunty Sunrock, reaching was really well, and he say, "Hey, do you mind if you can just go back and grab for me a record?" So I say, "Okay." I had sometimes, but yeah, and this is really pleasant because it's like in Montreal, you can like sort of organize touring or swing by several places without having to arrange a Uber or something. It's pretty. It's doable by walk. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
pretty much what I like. And yeah, I like to come over here in Toronto since there are some differences. They are not okay. Classic rock, some stuff you can pretty much find it. You can find pretty much everywhere in Canada. But for certain stuff, I do have the feeling, okay, when I go to Toronto, those are the stuff I will have to focus on.
Right.
Yeah.
I sort of see what you mean. For me, it's if I go to a smaller city, like for example, even Hamilton, which is just around the corner from Toronto, I find that well, maybe I didn't go to the right stores last time, but I was totally underwhelmed with what I was finding. But next time, I think I will try different stores because there are evidently some better ones. But it seemed to me, at least the places I went to, were very commonplace records. Nothing I needed, nothing that surprised me. But that may have more to do with the choices I made where we went. I went with Rob from Northern Revolutions. When was that? God, I can't remember the date now, but we had a meetup there.
Yeah.
And I think next time I'll try some different stores. But yeah.
Wouldn't say this is something general, but when we talk about going record shopping here in Canada, I don't know how it is in Vancouver and the BC, but here I have a feeling it makes sense. Totally makes sense to go to the city center, downtown Montreal, Toronto. I have the feeling when I go a little bit elsewhere, in the countryside of Quebec, it's a little bit the same. There is less. If you start buying records, if you start having a collection, it's not a problem. But for the two of us, we are on lookout for something like more interesting. And
yeah. Would you say that? And I didn't notice this. The last time I was in Montreal was I think 5 years ago. Would you say there's more francophone artists? Is that obvious, or is that not true in the record bins?
Oh yeah, it is totally. Yeah, it's funny you say that because Montreal is a francophone city. but in fact, it's not. It's half and half. There in the
Right.
in the Western Island, as we call, it's like very English speaking. So not in every record store they have a fairly decent Franco section.
Yeah.
But in the neighborhood where I often go to, the Plateau, for instance, there is this big store called Au 33 Tours, which is
Yeah.
pretty much equivalent of Sonic Boom over here. And yeah, so those rec- quite a few of those record stores have a decent Franco section, and because people speak French, so they consume French culture. You can find all the local artists, Quebecois, they sing in French, and also the artist band from France. So they discovered all people just like myself when we brought our collections. So yeah, it's much more simple, and it's much more true in Quebec City.
Right.
I think pretty much
Yeah.
every record store have a Franco section where French artists and Quebecois are displayed alongside. Yeah,
But it's
totally.
also funny. Like I was, as you know, last year I was in Boston, and a few years back I was in Baltimore, and my experience is that maybe, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I get the sense that probably 90% of the records are pretty much where you'd find anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's a small, maybe undefinable percentage of records that are unique maybe to a given area. But I mean, I kept flipping through bins and thinking I was in Toronto in some respects when I was in Boston. Because yeah, I see that all the time. I see that all the time. I have that. I see that all the time. Same in Baltimore. So there's just every once in a while you do discover something that's a little different, but there's more uniformity in record store inventory than I guess it makes sense, but I was hoping for different things. Even when I was in Italy, I was thinking, okay, there's got to be something, and there were definitely were different things, but not as much as I expected. I kept seeing the same things I see all the time, but Italy was probably a little bit different from Boston, perhaps, and Baltimore, I would say. But it's amazing how many records are in common. It seems like every record store you go to.
Yeah, that's true. As I often say, I do have several want list or wish list, depending upon where I am. So
Right.
in Montreal, I know I can focus on the local stuff, on the pro Quebecois. I have a chance to travel, so we won't talk too much about Europe, but we can. Whenever I'm in Germany or in France, then it's another opportunity to find something different. And the same with you. You took a trip to Italy last summer. Certainly, you focused or you came across certain stuff. So you say, okay, this is something I never or I
Yeah.
barely encounter in Toronto. So you just take the opportunity, and this is what digging elsewhere is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I did only purchase. I only purchased things in Italy that I knew I never see here, which makes sense.
Mhm.
But I think when I went to Italy, I was expecting to see more. Because vinyl really died here in the 90s, like in the early 90s, it seems to me. Like that's when CDs came in. There were still records being made, of course, but not as many. So I was under the impression that the vinyl lifespan was extended further into the 90s than it did here. And I didn't really see a lot of that stuff. I was looking for, that 90s stuff that you would hope to find and didn't really see it.
Uh,
But
it's funny
maybe
you
I was
say that.
mistaken.
I went to a store, I think 2 weeks ago in Montreal, called L'Oblique, and yeah, this is what he said. They were like specialized. He's been running for 40 or 30 years, something, and he was pretty much into independent label stuff at the
Hmm.
time. But in the 90s, he said, there were no vinyl press in Canada any longer, and the big store, Sunrise and all, and
Yeah.
they just decided to not sell vinyl records anymore. So he survived, or he ended up that he would like, okay, I'm selling not only independent stuff, but also Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and yeah, this is how it evolved, because they were still this customer base who went to vinyl. And he said that the really turning point was in 1997 when EMI did his 100 years. I don't know if you remember 100 years EMI. Made a
Yeah.
special batch of records, vinyl, and it sold like cake.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then three after they came back with the Millennium series, and then it's vinyl. Yeah, well, got to come back. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, hey, hi Steve. Mr. Steve. We have another fellow from the French vinyl community. Hi Clément, salut. So yeah, for those who doesn't know, I'm spending the week in Toronto. So yeah, we went with Brian. Just repeating myself today, where we went to a couple of places, and thank you, Clément. You mentioned a couple of places. I will try to go to tomorrow. I have to go back to tomorrow evening to Montreal. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm really glad with the purchases I could make. Yeah. So shall we? Yeah, I don't know if we.
Yeah.
If you wish. I will maybe talk about some stuff. Just tell me about this record. How did you? What did you convince you? Because you had you found yourself a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really know about this band until I saw it on a couple of channels. I think the first place I saw it was on Ben Rankin's channel.
Rankins, yeah.
And he talked about it a lot. And then I saw it on someone else's channel, and I was at that point I was interested. So I did stream most of it, I believe, and thought I liked what I heard. And I was on the fence about buying it, but weirdly I had a price watch on Amazon, and it dropped to $17. I think $17.50, and so I decided to order it. And the funny thing is, you found that today, and had I seen that, I would have bought that had I not already bought my reprint. I had a repressing from.
Yeah, it was on the, because they have like how do you call that, at the entrance of the store, Sonic Boom, they have a rack. It's
recent
like,
arrivals, I guess.
Yeah, recent arrival. If there were crates, would been 15 crates something.
At least, yeah.
At least 15 crates, and yeah, I was like flicking through.
Yes, yeah.
And hey, I grab it, and I didn't even realize it's an OG press.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you noticed this also. Downstairs in the new stuff, they had a copy of the recent pressing that I just bought. Yeah. I paid $17.50, and there was $44, I think. So I think I got a deal.
Yeah, paid 20, 25. So
yeah, that's a good deal.
It's a good deal. Yeah, 25 Canadian. So for our American friends, it's.
Well, I think that record is regarded by some people as the greatest Australian record of all time. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think I read something like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the singer died I think he died in 1999.
Yeah. So this is and I'm very surprised. I can easily find some UK. Oh, my camera.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? I don't know. Let me. Okay. I forgot my webcam, so I borrowed the cam from my friend. So yeah, I'm really surprised. You know, it's not like rare to find some UK press over here in Toronto.
No.
Lots of bands from the 80s, you know, Psychedelic Furs, Econ the Bunnymen, the Bill Nelson, you know, like I always mention. Yeah, it's not rare.
There are some bands that are more rare here than you might imagine. Like, for example, the Buzzcocks is a good example of a band you just rarely see records from, at least original pressings here for some reason. I just noticed that I never really see them occasionally. But it is funny how some other bands we get, like Echo and the Bunnymen is a good example. There's no shortage of even UK pressings from that band over here.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, we have a bunch of people in the chat. This is Matze. This is a fellow member from the German vinyl community. So yeah, small announcement. I will host a live stream on my German-speaking channel this Saturday. So Matze, maybe you will have a chance to tune in. Hey, we have Rob Walker. Hi, Rob.
Yeah, I think Rob Walker. Didn't Rob show the Triffids recently as well? I think maybe.
Probably, yeah. I have a hard time keeping up. Just to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Hard time. Yeah, I need to follow the French, the German, the international. It's and there are quite a few of those new VC channels. So it's
Yeah,
pretty hard. Yeah.
absolutely.
So I do my best, and yeah. Good question. Good question. Uh, Birthday party. I think Ben mentioned that. I'm not familiar. I won't say bullshit about that, but
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think,
yeah,
didn't they start in 79 or, I got that date wrong, 78, 79, something like that? Birthday
yeah.
party through
I'm
the
really,
80s.
really a newbie. You know, I have this daily conversation with Fred Big Star 1000, who's been living in Australia for the past 20 years. Ben Rankings from as well. So I'm kind of taking notes, and I'm really not familiar with what happened in Australia.
No
Yeah.
one is.
But yeah, but he made a video. He was talking about the punk. So he was talk the way he talked about Civic, the record Civic. Hey, maybe you want to buy a copy, and all this branching out. Radio Birdman's, the Saints, and Laughing Clowns. The post-punk bands. It's amazing. So,
Yeah,
but too,
he's.
mm,
I was gonna say he's convinced me to buy a few records. No question
yeah,
about it.
me too. I think I made a video recently about all these records I bought because of or thanks to the VC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks to the.
greatest Australian record. No, that's maybe I misread it, or maybe it was someone's comment. You go on YouTube and someone will argue that your least favorite record is the best thing ever made. So
Mhm.
who knows?
Yeah, one record I also am really happy to have found. This is a John Martin. This is a Stormbringer, the one he made with his wife. Sorry, I haven't listened to the record. I just bought like 2 hours ago, so I won't be like very specific, detailed. John Martin, I'm currently reading that book Rob Young wrote, a guy who's been working for Wire magazine called Electric Eden. And yeah, this is truly an artist related to this folk revival movement with a lots of jazz element. So probably his most known album is Solid Air, I think.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, so this is starting. I'm trying to delve into right now. So, and this is, but it's not an OG. This is a reissue I got on Four Men with Beards.
Hmm.
And I know this label is not always like doesn't always receive lots of credit, lots of applause. But yeah, I'm glad I could find Rob Walker turned me into Icon the Bunnyman.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a good band.
yeah, I was lucky. I found a copy of Evan Up Here, I think 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and yeah, what a shock! And David Atkinson, he made a video dedicated to this album.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really do have a soft spot for these records. Then I bought the Porcupine, their debut, but I think as an
Yeah.
ensemble, the Evan Up Here really works well. Yeah, this ambient, the new wave. Yeah.
Have you heard Ocean Rain yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the I know this. The Killing Moon is on that
Yeah.
album. Yeah.
That might be. I think that might be their best record, if you ask me. Ocean Rain.
Yeah. I can find pretty much everywhere, and
Yeah.
not like I need the original press from the country, but I still have connections with Europe. So you follow my channel, Brian, so sometimes I place some orders online. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, it's something I know I will able to get a hold of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
OG punk. Yeah, I'm not really into that punk. Really started buying some record from the band Fugazi, and it's something like really new to me. It's a whole word, I guess. It's really a whole word.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. As I mentioned in a comment, I haven't even listened to Fugazi. I don't know anything about them, so that's something. I have this. I
Yeah,
always say on videos, I'll check that out. But I have this long mental list, and sometimes written
yeah.
down that
We
things.
all
Is
we,
just,
we are all on the same page. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
for sure.
To me, it's the same. I bought records. Some people mentioned last year. To me,
Oh yeah.
it takes a year because I know, and to me, it works the perfect marketing, bashing, I have to, I have to watch several videos by 4 different people. Okay, fifth time. Yeah, I'm giving a fair hearing, and yeah, so many things. Plus now we do our stream on the French speaking channel every Sunday morning, which is 4 hours,
Oh,
sometimes 5. Yeah, and you can imagine how many records, how many references people come. Yeah. So this is pretty surprised. Those people are in Europe are still up. Like Clément is here. Philosphère, another guy. Salut Philosphère from the French vinyl community. Hey, Berlin! I know Berlin is a perfect place for record shopping. And okay, I've been to Berlin like for a job 15 years ago, but I never had a chance to go for record digging there. But I would love to. Berlin, I think Berlin, Hamburg are the go-to places. If you ask me,
right.
I'm not missing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Martin. Yes, it's and the live in Leeds he made is pretty interesting as well with the special effect. He to the acoustic guitar, which is like very spacey, very ambient. Yeah, some records. Hey, do you mind if I do you mind if I put a link in the chat so if people will join us? No.
It's very flattering, Alex, but probably I don't know. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mind if people if I ask people if they want to join us to
no
chat?
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I are the boss. We both decide tonight. So
yeah.
So yeah.
So maybe I should pull out something I bought today.
Sure.
Find something here. So this will appeal to Alex because I finally got a legitimate copy of Test for Echo by Rush. And if anybody doesn't know the story, I was in Boston last year and I inadvertently bought a counterfeit of this because it wasn't, I don't really find that in Canada. I don't know about you, FVA, but
never saw either a copy of vinyl copy of this one.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, the store we went to had a bunch of counterfeit copies. So what I bought was a counterfeit, but I don't really see that very often in Toronto. Like I don't see straight up copies of records. These unofficial releases, yes, but I never saw. So I bought it thinking it was the real thing, and it definitely wasn't.
Yeah, I remember about that. When came out this one? Just
originally, it was supposed to be What you mean? Original was 1996.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the non-vinyl years, yeah.
Yeah, but this was repressed years ago. I think in the middle of the 2015 or something. And then I didn't buy them. Then I bought a couple more Rush ones too because I didn't buy them because I have them on CD. But then, anyway, I stupidly bought the counterfeit version, and I grabbed this one today. Oh, by the way, I should also say, since we're talking about Rush, I also got Counterparts and Roll the Bones. I didn't buy Presto because I have an original pressing of Presto, so I didn't need it. There was a box set of those 4 records, these 3 plus Presto, that was released a while ago, and it was sold out immediately. It's still available through the Rush site in Canada, but the price was a little high, and I didn't really need to have Presto, so I didn't buy the box set. But I'm happy to have these. Yeah, I don't know. Are you familiar with this era of Rush?
Not really.
Yeah.
I just probably they lost me after Power Windows. Sorry.
Well, I think they got better after Power Windows. Like for me,
okay.
Hold Your Fire, Power Windows. That for me was the period I didn't like probably the most. And then they, took some time off. They kind of got better, if you ask me. So I actually love some of the later stuff, like Snakes and Arrows. I think is a fantastic record. And even Clockwork Angel is good. Test for Echo, I don't. That's the one I know the least. But Vapor Trails, I think, is really good. If you don't get the CD version, you have to get the vinyl, the remix vinyl on that one. I think it's really good. But I think they came back to their roots more or less, not in terms of long progressive pieces, but in terms of like songs with guitars, right? Not like Power Windows, which didn't, and Hold Your Fire, which I like in some respects, but it doesn't really. I could, I don't really care if I ever hear them again. You know what I mean?
I know totally what you mean. But Snakes and Arrows, I have a special relationship with this one because I listened to this one online. Was a French Spotify just to make things shorter. On the day I took my very first trip to visit Canada, on the plane I was sitting and I was listening to this album to be in the mood, Rush album, because they just brought this copy. They just brought the album, came out in 2013. Was in 2013, so
right.
I do have, but I don't have a copy, physical form of this one. But I should, maybe I should give it a try.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I like it.
I think Steve just bought a copy of Roll the Bones recently.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he made a video. So Ben is here. Yeah. Yeah.
I was waiting for you to show up to show those. It's a part of our social contract with being Canadian, right? You have to show the Rush records.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What do you think? I'm waiting to have the pay. No, I want to say bullshit. The status, and then I can throw it away. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm a genuinely Rush fan. I grew up listening to Rush, really.
Yeah.
My father, he took his trip to see the family in Niagara in the 70s, and he got to see them live in Hamilton in 79. And he brought to France back, because we were in France back then. I wasn't born. The Permanent Waves.
Yeah.
And the other one, the Xanadu, with the Xanadu, Farewell to Kings.
Right. Yeah.
Which I now have in my collection, and I'm pretty glad, because now when you see the price of this anthem Canadian release.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I ignored Rush for years. I didn't really pay them any attention. They weren't really something I listened to until I don't even know when, but I had to go back and, pick up things I never owned. I didn't even have a copy of Moving Pictures until on CD at some point in I don't even know when, but well after the fact.
It's blew my mind the first time I heard, Tom Sawyer, Red Bachata. It's probably my favorite Rush album, along with 2112. Still today.
Yeah, I find it really hard to pick a favorite Rush record, but Moving Pictures is definitely probably chosen by most people as their favorite Rush record, which I understand, but it's hard to pick one.
Yeah. Titanic. No, Philo, but you mentioned this you comment on my previous video. No, wasn't aware of that. I wrote a book. A guy wrote, a French guy, about obscure, philosopher Émeric Leroy, rock progressive, and they are it's loaded with references with obscure prog band names, and I'm not sure if there is a Norwegian section. I have to check out. Yeah. What time is it in Melbourne right now? What time is it? Oh, it's 1 p.m. But tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ben is having lunchtime with two Canadians. How cool is that? So yeah, if anyone wants to join, no worries. Don't be afraid of the two of us.
Yeah. All right. Hilarious.
Yeah. Hey, we have the king.
The
king is here. Her Majesty. Sorry, His Majesty.
Well, Mike, you should have been in the store when I bought it. Maybe you would have. Alex was there, but I guess he didn't see what I was doing, so I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, moving on with some other other stuff. What did I found? Oh, this one I'm really glad, and I'm giving a shout out to Alex Beer and Vinyl. I don't know if he's still in the chat. Couldn't
Oh.
really believe my eyes. Okay, the cover is not really in a good condition, but who cares? The media itself can make myself big. Can I? Yeah. So yeah, press on Verve. Hey, I paid 14. Yeah, 15 Canadians. So
Was
pretty
that from
glad.
Sonic? Was that Sonic Boom? You got that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It was on the late arrival bins, and I was literally looking for this one for years. I know it has been reissued because I see it like the reissues, yeah, pretty much everywhere in Montreal. But this is an OG, perhaps not an OG, maybe a later repress, but who cares? $15, and I
That's
thought maybe okay, and I thought okay, it is warped or scratched for 15, but not. Hey, say, yeah, cool. Do you listen to some? I know we are not jazz expert by any. I'm not a jazz expert, not a jazz nerd by any means. But do you have like or a getaway? Some artists. It's not jazz. It's jazz fusion rock. Mahavishnu Orchestra. Uh,
yeah.
what is your takes on jazz or jazz with other genre mixed? Yeah.
I don't know if I have a take on that. I mean, I have a handful of jazz records. Most of the jazz I have is on CD, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
don't, and it's not a very big, like, we've got some John Coltrane and some Miles
Mm-hmm.
Davis, things like that. I have
Yeah.
a Miles Davis box set, an 8 CD box set, a few other things. I don't really have anything that would be fusion related, though. I don't think. I mean, the closest thing might be, well, I'm not even sure this counts, but there's a band called Sea and Cake, and they have a bit of a jazz influence in them, but they're more of like a, I don't even think that really necessarily qualifies. So yeah, jazz is something I like, but just don't own a lot of for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Weird,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have a lot of jazz records myself, but Mahavishnu Orchestra, this is a type of stuff I'm trying to be more, Last year, when Ben Rankings came over, I got myself a copy of Return to Forever, which is okay.
Mhm.
But this Mahavishnu Orchestra is a little bit more of craziness, more funky. Certainly the stuff. And I paid $2 for that. So jazz.
That's a
And
deal.
Steve doesn't like jazz. He always says it has to be Tony Bolin on the record jazz.
I mean, that's right.
Yeah, I remember about that. I remember. Steve, hey, if you want to hop on, I know it's pretty late, pretty impromptu, and wow, hey, I'm pretty amazed. I have lots of people from Europe.
Yeah.
Wow, it's 2 a.m. in the morning in the UK or France or whatever. It's
The other thing about, I was thinking about the whole jazz thing is that, I don't like to expose myself to giant rabbit holes because I have such a little amount of jazz. I don't have places to keep it. And to be
mhm.
honest, I mean, the time I became aware of or really interested in music, jazz wasn't really something that anybody I knew was listening to. So I didn't really, and my parents never listened to it. So it's just not something I pursued. Although I love it. Every time I hear it, I think of how great it is, but I just never really, never really buy
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I tried. The thing is, I had a chance. A private collector from Switzerland. He wanted to get rid of some great stuff at a fair
Mhm.
decent price, and it was just before I moved to Canada. So I had a little. I still have a little knowledge of jazz, but back then was worse.
Yeah.
Very basic knowledge, and not a lot of budget because I was planning to move over here. So I made some phone calls with the friends in the other part of France who bought the entire collection, and he said, okay, if you want to have 5-6 pieces of that, so this is what I've done. So I say, okay, buy the collection, and I get from that collection, the Maiden Voyage, classic stuff, John Coltrane, Ole, very basic stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, okay, I will be moving to North America, maybe in Vermont, when I will have more chance to find those kind of copies, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Cosmos. Speaking about local record store, local here, I'm in Toronto tonight with you, Brian. Cosmos on Queen Street or King Street.
Queen. Well,
Yeah,
there's two locations, right? They have two,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Very decent choice of
Yeah.
jazz. Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Mm.
I always thought that store was overpriced, but maybe not. I haven't been in a while. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
mentally, I guess I kind of just avoided it because I don't know.
Okay, I went yesterday for maybe 1 hour or something. Didn't found anything, but yeah, probably the folk, psych rock, a little bit. But the jazz stuff, I think the price was right. Seemed
Mhm.
right to me. Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't
Okay.
like wasn't shocked. And once again, I'm not an expert. I'm not digging. I'm not buying regular stuff. But this is where I found my copy of John Coltrane. My favorite things,
Hmm.
uh, and didn't pay much. I think so. Was a later early 70s repress. So, yeah, that's totally no
Yeah.
G's. Yes, totally agree with you. You know the thing is with all this psych stuff or wear stuff. I will never. I'm really happy I found a bunch of records, and I have plenty of lots of music to listen to. And of course, I could have go like, hey, maybe I will put a 200 or a 300 bucks on one record because it's an OG. I need that, but
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't do that either, and I don't really. I have one so-called audiophile record, but you remember that whole row, that whole aisle in Sonic Boom that was just audiophile pressings.
yeah,
I've never looked in that section.
me neither. Me neither. The only MoFi record I bought, I was on the lookout for the Grateful Dead American Beauty for years, and I never found a copy back in my Europe days. And the first time after moving here in Montreal, first store I visited, they had a copy in MoFi, and the price was okay. So I bought it because it was the album I was looking for, not because it was a MoFi.
Yeah.
And and I cannot compare because this is the typical conversation we hear here and there in the VC. Oh, it sounds better. It sounds better
Mm-hmm.
than what? Um, have you compared? Have you so it's like this beer four-man beer label that has focused on ratio.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't have the OG. I cannot compare. It's like a unit. If you cannot calibrate against the standard, so if you don't have that standard, it's pretty.
Also there's just the whole idea that as you age, your hearing is not going to be as good as it once was.
Mm,
So I'm not sure at my age with my ears, I'm going to be able to notice a big enough difference between something that's audiophile and something that so-called audiophile and something that isn't. So I'm not willing to pay, you know, those crazy prices for something like that.
yeah. And
Yeah.
once again, if it's affordable, finding an OG copy in a good conditions, and if
Yeah.
the wow effect worth the
Yeah.
money you put, then okay. But I went to Den Bosch last year, and they were like, I wanted to buy a copy of stuff like the Zombies, that Odyssey and Oracle, one of my all-time favorite record, or the
Mhm.
Pretty Things, SF Sorrow. And when I saw the price, I said, okay, forget about that. The karma ratio for $60 will be fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
ECM label, that's a good point. That's I'm trying to delve into their catalog. There are quite a few of those of records. Are you familiar with the ECM label? I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Rob. You are driving to Den Bosch with two VC friends from the UK, David Atkinson and Gav.
Sounds like a fun road trip.
Oh yeah. Plus, they have a car, so they can fill up the trunk.
That's right.
No, that's a huge advantage.
What about now that you're not in the EU? Is there a customs issue to be faced when coming back? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably, yeah. I know you did, Emma. You did. I watched your video. The one you found was like John Abercrombie. She found herself a copy of John Abercrombie. That's the one I'm on the lookout. Yeah, for. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Plus, I like Michael 45. But when he shows, this Genesis album, we can find pretty much everywhere for $2, and even the cassette you can find on every garage sale, which is much more closer to the
That's right.
master tapes. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's 700 vendors or booth sellers, whatever. So yeah, it is huge. It takes a roadmap, a plan. Where
I
do
don't even
you
know how
go?
you even deal with that. I mean, even the ones in Toronto are, I don't think there's more than 20 vendors. So I don't know how you would even manage something that big.
First of all, you won't stay half of the day, as I
Right.
usually do when I go to the record show here in North America.
Yeah.
So it's I was like not 4 days, 3.5 days, no 3 days there. So you can organize like, hey, first day I have to go there because it's no like sought after stuff. If I won't go there, they will disappear. Then on the second day, you have a list, you have a plan. So this is the folk section, this is the jazz section, this is the
Okay.
metal section, and then on the last day, this is a hey, 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 good to see you.
G'day.
Hello.
Good.
Are you getting paid?
I'm on my lunch break, so I can be here for a little bit.
Gotta say, I love the background.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Do you have a record to show?
I can show you my lunch.
Okay,
Oh.
bye.
Ouch.
Yeah,
When you started mentioning Rush, I just had to jump on.
Of course.
of course.
But wait, do you have any Rush yet in your
No.
collection? None. And will that ever change?
No.
So, you and Rush and Genesis.
It just sings very high.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
Although when I did come over,
Yeah.
well, the thing, I knew that Canada was all about Rush, but I wasn't expecting it to be this Rush when we landed in the airport in Vancouver. And soon as we picked up our bags, and the first cafe inside the airport I saw had a fridge full of drinks, and there were like beers with the Rush logo on it. And I was kind of like, okay, this is for real.
It is for real. It's Rush beer. Apparently it's terrible though.
yeah.
It's actually
okay.
made. Alex Lifeson and Getty Lee actually work with the brewery to make it. I think there's 2 kinds now, but I don't know. I haven't had it.
Yeah, Iron Maiden made the same stuff
Yeah.
6 years ago with Bruce Dickinson, the singer, yeah. And yeah.
It must have been like 10 or 15 years ago in Aldi. They had AC/DC Hard as a Rock beer. And it was actually a German-made one, and it wasn't bad.
Oh, wow.
And the one that really perplexed me, which I don't associate AC/DC with this, was for a while they sold a red wine.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, I
No.
know. You could get a Bon Scott Shiraz or a Brian Johnson Cab Sav, I think.
Well, Wayne Gretzky has a winery here, which I think is pretty strange.
and it's good, and it's really
Is it?
good. It
Oh,
is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's the Niagara Peninsula. Okay, so we move out of the record topic for a while. There is this Austrian guy who moved to here over here in the 70s, and in Austria they are famous for doing the ice wine. The ice wine is nothing more than harvesting the grapes when
yeah.
it's -7.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So it's full concentrated with sugar and stuff. And he started the business over here because in Niagara Peninsula, it's like between both lakes,
Yeah.
Ontario and area,
Erie. Mhm.
Erie, yeah. Erie, that's a French pronunciation. Sorry about that. And yeah, they since then they are a couple of other wineries, estates such as Peller, Gretzky, and it is really good. It is really like a shot of it's very like sugar, and I like that. Really like that ice
Oh,
wine.
okay.
I don't think that it's any coincidence that I turn up and the conversations become a lot more highbrow now.
Oh, it's boozier. It's all about booze now.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Well, Ben, we went to the Horseshoe Tavern today too, so it was like
Ah,
too bad you weren't there because it was exactly what happened last summer.
what? A fire alarm went off?
No fire alarm though, right?
No, it's perfect. It's a pub or a bar just in front of a record store.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
There's the one I like to go to here called Strange World Records. Unfortunately, he's having a break for a little while because the leases got too expensive. But he's like a block from a pub, and he always encourages you go have a counter meal and have a few beers, and then come back because you get a bit looser and buy way more records.
yeah.
what did you buy lately, man?
What have I got lately? I just picked up. Just pre-ordered a Flying Nun record by the band Robert, and it's called Robert the Record. It's like I think it's an '80s one, and it had people from the Axemen and a few other luminaries from the Flying Nun scene at that time. That's a good one. And I just ordered another Australian one, post-punkish band called Tape Off, their new record, which was cool to see because they haven't released anything for a little while. Just trying to think off the top of my head, what else I might have got. I think most of it, which I've got recently, was in the last video I did of my finds for the last couple of months.
Which I haven't watched yet because I'm a bad follower. Sorry about that.
It's quite all right. I can't say I watch lots and lots of your streams because I'm usually at work like today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What's been shaking lately for you?
In terms of like new records,
Besides all those Rush records.
I was just going to say I got some Rush records here.
Yeah, post punk is also an area I would like to explore. The Laughing Clown albums. Law of Nature is such a brilliant record, and this is in a way a connection with jazz.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
They had Louis Elliott, the saxophone, which brings something amazing to the table. Tend to overuse that expression, but yeah, it's really true. It's really nice this one.
And Jeffrey Wagner, who played drums in the Laughing Clowns, they probably wouldn't have been able to achieve that jazzier side of things without him. He's a pretty incredible drummer.
So, do you recommend other albums they made, or?
Yeah, they didn't make a lot of albums. There's probably about, off the top of my head, maybe 3 or 4 records and a ton of 12-inch EPs and singles and what have you. Yeah, if you like Eternally Yours, which I think is the one you've got,
Right.
Yeah, you're in. You'll dig anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Fred, my friend, your fellow countryman, Big Star 1000. I asked him if he can source locally the Civic taken by force. and he was in not Licorice Pie, not Plug 7, Thorn something.
Thornbury Records.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, I won't say I won't be shipping only one record. You added more in the package. So I say, okay, thank you. And all Australian music, yeah, had stuff from Adam Halliwell, yeah, the Civic record, and I think it's called Steve Brown or Miles Brown, some electronic music inspiration.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Miles Brown. Yeah,
Kraftwerk, video gaming, Depeche Mode in a way.
Miles Brown. When Goblin toured here maybe 10 years ago, he was their guest theremin player. Because that's his bag. Like he makes electronic music, but it's kind of this is why I reckon you would dig him, because it does have a bit of prog elements to his electronic music, and lots of theremin in there. And yeah, Goblin actually asked him to play with him, which was pretty cool.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which wasn't even intended to play music when it was created, which is funny.
Yeah. Have you seen that documentary about the theremin?
No, we talk daily with the guys, and we were having this conversation on the last stream. He was a guy working for a bank in Russia, or an engineer in a bank. Say, hey, you have to provide us with a safety system or something.
Your viewers won't be annoyed at me if I actually eat my lunch well.
I haven't seen that on a VC video yet, so this is perfect.
All right, it's a very healthy salad wrap.
Right.
With 4B mixed tomatoes, some lettuce, and avocado, of course.
Oh, you guys have still avocado from Mexico. You're lucky.
No, so we still avocado.
No, because we don't have. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. we have avocado.
The Americans won't have avocado soon. Right?
Yeah, that's yeah. I was bad at making this joke, but no, we still have.
Oh yeah, because of that orange guy.
Yeah.
What a knob.
Hey Rob, hop on. Rob would be nice to have a three continent.
Three continents, yeah.
Continent, yeah. We have some guy from Australia, Silver from Canada. This is really fun. Having a community of people all over the world.
I can give you a few if you want to hear, because I don't have any records to show, but I can give you a few upcoming, exciting Australian and New Zealand releases, in my opinion, if you'd like.
Sure.
So sticking with the whole Flying Nun New Zealand thing, there's a Chills record called Springboard coming out, or it's out now, and that's it's a posthumous record, I suppose, in a way. Martin Phillips, who was the only kind of guy who was from the Chills from the start to the end. There are a lot of songs he wrote in the 80s which never got recorded because there was a big gap between their early singles and when they finally put out a full-length LP. And so he'd been working on completing these songs, and they're releasing them, and they've sort of been finished off by people as famous as Neil Finn helped out as well, and a heap of other of those Flying Nun dudes. Also, The Cleans, one of their 90s records, Modern Rock, is coming out soon too on Flying Nun. Mr. Udic Mudic is a great record. The Cruel Sea have reformed, and they're making a new record called Straight Into the Sun. What else we got here? Oh, your favourite, Brian. Melbourne Punks, Bat Piss, have a new record coming out.
Great.
Called There's a Place in My Mind. It's been a few years since they've released one. They're awesome Melbourne band. A reissue of the impossible to find God 7-inch My Pal. That's playing reissue, which would be cool. Jack Frost, which is Steve Kilby from The Church and Grant McLennan from the Go-Betweens collaboration from the 90s. I think that it's called As Seen on TV. I think it might be a compilation of all the stuff that they did together. What else we got here? New record by Kim Salmon's new band called Smoked Salmon. I saw them actually support the Hard Quartet about like early late January. They were really good. He's got a really hot band at the moment, so looking forward to that. Ed Cooper and Jim White are releasing a collaboration record, which will be interesting because, as you know, Jim White's a drummer for the Dirty Three and a bazillion other things.
What is that? The Dirty Three? What is that? Is that I'm not familiar.
Dirty Three. You know Warren Ellis, who works with Nick Cave.
Mm-hmm.
He plays in the Dirty Three. He plays violin. Jim White drums, and Mick Turner plays guitar, and they're just a 3-piece, and it's pretty much all instrumental. There's like one album when I think Cat Power sings on 2 or 3 songs, and I don't know how to describe them because some people call them post rock and all those sorts of things, but it's the kind of stuff that can be equally beautiful and also like sounds like an airplane landing in your lounge room kind of thing. But they're amazing live band, and they put an album out last year which was fantastic. It was really unexpected because they haven't played together for like 10 or 15 years. I reckon you might dig them actually, Romeo. So yeah.
How did he evolve? Ed Cooper's. From the band, the post-punk Laughing Clowns, which was 1984, quite a while up to now.
Yeah, well, he's been releasing records under his own name for a long time, alongside the Laughing Clowns throughout the 80s, and then throughout the 90s. He's really prolific. If you look up his back catalogue, like he's
But I mean, how did he evolve? Did he tackle or try something new, different?
Yeah, that's pretty much his agenda in general. Like, you can't just go, that's what an Ed Cooper record sounds like kind of thing. He's constantly trying to do different things. Like, he has records which are more punk fueled. There's ones which are like really spare and almost acoustic, and you know, and then he still goes into jazzy areas every now and then on his solo stuff. He reformed the Aints, which was a band he had in the late 80s, early 90s, and they released a stack of, I think they were 2 records and a EP, which was really, really cool as well. And this time round, like the first version of the Aints were like this epic, real guitar-driven thing, but this time round they had horns and more in a normal singer, more of a rock. But yeah, interesting. Like, he always is, you know, one of those guys who everything he releases, he's always sort of pushing further and further and testing his limits. Not scared to, you know, lose an audience member or 2 by changing constantly.
Yeah. Taking risks. Taking risks. Yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, I kind of admire that, but yeah. But yeah, there's a couple more. So 3Ds, Flying Nun, legends from the 90s. They've got Appeal Sessions release coming out from back in the day, which would be good. And then 2 newish bands, one called Floodlights. I say this post-punk stuff a lot, but they're kind of like that. They have a new record and a kind of modern shoegaze psych band called Grinding Eyes. They're releasing a new one. They're all the ones on my radar anyway, things which are coming out. These phone things are handy. You can just look all that stuff up. Keep it in your notes. That's how I keep my list these days, all in the notes.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
Bon appetit. Hey, we have someone from Japan. Yeah, we can maybe have a 4-continent live stream today. Pretty amazing. But it looks like Rob. Yeah, it's too late for Rob.
Yeah.
Saving my money because we're going to Japan in July and August, and I got long service leave, so we'll be over there for about 7 weeks.
Whoa.
So so lots and lots of great record stores there. But going to do a little bit at the start that where there's one place I don't think even has power. We're going to island hop around Okinawa Islands for a little bit.
Nice.
And then go onto the mainland and visit family, and that's where I hit the. I've shopped at Dub Store many times. It's awesome. When I went back after the pandemic, though, they look like they got hit pretty hard. But hopefully this time around they'll be back in action because they didn't seem to have as much stock. But they have the licensing to reissue all of the Studio One stuff. So they just specialize in reggae, dub, ska, dancehall, all of that. They have amazing.
Something about reggae. I have to keep going.
I thought I offended him by saying reggae at first. He's like, I've had enough. I'm taking this one. But that's the thing about Japan. Their record stores, there's a lot which will just specialize in one thing.
Yeah.
And I just found this place by accident, and I thought this looks interesting, and it's got everything you could bloody think of. The collection of 7-inches there, it was mind blowing.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Not quite as much as the
basement at Cops
collection we saw. Was it Cops?
Cops.
Yeah.
The basement. Yeah.
Yeah, I found
that's the Taylor Swift collection.
Yeah.
I bought
it upstairs and downstairs.
I bought three 12-inch singles today, which I never do. But speaking of dub, crazy stuff, is something I've been on the lookout for for months as well. This is crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really glad.
What a band!
Yeah, what a band. Ja Wobble, the guy, dub. Olga Shukai. Shall I introduce Olga Shukai for iconic leader of Can krautrock, and just
Jackie leads it. Such an amazing drummer.
Yeah, so really glad this is an OG press. I found this in Rotate This. Rotate This is a really cool store.
Fantastic.
What year was that from? That album?
80. It's an EP. It's an EP released in 81 or 82 something.
Oh, okay.
Nice. I won't say you bullshit. 81.
Wow.
In fact, yeah. Yeah. This one's pretty. It's good. Yeah.
That's cool.
Because I'm not into dub reggae stuff, but sometimes stuff like that. It's, and another. This is so much underrated as well.
I have that record. That's great.
Yeah.
I can't quite see what that is.
John Fox.
John Fox, yeah, Ultravox. You know the Ultravox dancing with Heroes in My Eyes. Him with Midjure. When they benefit from the support from Connie Plank, but they started in 77 completely the same lineup except one member, and he was the first leader of the band, and it's completely different. So, and he gave up after 3 albums, and he made this one. I can make myself big. So this is new wave, like Kraftwerk influenced. So John Fox. So by the time
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the earlier Ultravox or any of that.
And me neither. And to be honest, I had downloaded as an MP3 the entire catalog 15 years ago.
Oh,
And
really?
I never gave too much thought of the first album, three first, because I thought, okay, Vienna, that's the one.
That's what I know. Yeah.
And it was a mistake. I happened to find the very first debut album from '77, and it's a killer album.
Yeah.
It's like Human League. I didn't know for a long time that their really early stuff, how amazing it was.
I agree. It's fantastic.
Yeah, when the guy who formed Heaven 17, he had a podcast. What's his name? Martin Ware. He was in the band. And they were doing stuff like industrial, Sheffield, almost Cabaret Voltaire. Say it with a French accent.
They're amazing.
Cabaret Voltaire, yeah. And I found also this one. Yeah. I tried desperately to find a copy of the '82 album for a VCLT for Brian, and but yeah, this one he made after he left. I think Bebop Deluxe. Fred told me about that. So '79, and you find everywhere. Paying $10 for that. So much underrated.
Yeah, that's true.
I should. You're just reminding me when you mentioned Fred that I found a couple of weekends ago the two David Chesworth records. I got No Particular Place, which I think when we were on that last stream, he showed that one.
Uh-huh.
Got an original of it, which was cool, and I got a reissue of Layer on Layer. So he was in Essendon Airport, which were kind of experimental electronic stuff, but really interesting. So I could believe when that stream we did, and he just pulled out David Chesworth, and I was like, whoa, you never see them. And then it's just funny how you see something and then it turns up later on and you've never seen them anywhere before.
Next time you are in town, Ben, you just drop me a text. I can arrange a meeting from Canada. I text Fred. Hey, Fred. No, if you want, would be nice. Would be nice to.
Yeah. No, I would like to catch up with Fred. He seems like a good dude.
We talk daily with him. We really talk daily, and he has such a great collection. And this is also the stuff we are talking about. Folk revival, and this is also the stuff. I see
those records everywhere. I don't know anything about that band, but they're in every record bin I look in.
To be honest, I'm not familiar with this album. The Still I Span was like parallel Fairport Convention, and I think one of the member Ashley Hutchins, who is not on that album, but he maybe had joined a little bit later. Yeah, when he left Fairport Convention, he joined Still I Span, and it's folk, and they had a singer, Maddie Pryor, beautiful voice. So I paid $2.
Wow. Was that from today?
Yeah, from the basement. I found it in Cops. Yeah, in the basement, and it's clean as it can be. So very, very underrated as well. So bands like Still I Span, Fotheringham, Fairport Convention.
Yeah.
That's
I quite like Fairport Convention, but I kind of like I knew of Still I Span, but hadn't really gone down that path. What's the other one where
Pentangle?
Thank you, because that had the two amazing guitarists in that band.
Yeah, which is a perfect transition, and I'm giving another shout out to Mr. Vinyl Addict.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So many stuff there. Yeah, it's true. Pentangle, they had not only one genius at the guitar, they had two, and this is a VCLT. So thank you, Mr. Attic.
Oh,
This
nice.
is yeah. The other was Bert Jensch,
I got some Bert Jens
Bert
records.
Jensch, yeah, and John Rainbow. They were two guitar player at a Pentangle, with a singer who also had this beautiful voice, Jackie Macchi, I think. He offered me also a cup, so pretty cool. But you can find this record everywhere. From Pentangle, I found a copy in Den Bosch, the Cruise Sister, but you find everywhere. The Cruise Sister and the Reflection, that's the name of the album. It has more jazz element, a little bit prog. Yeah.
Yeah, that was something like that kind of stuff, that English folk music of the late 60s, early 70s was something for a long time I was probably quite resistant to. But yeah, well, I think it was is it where does the time go by Fairport Convention was probably one of the first things where it's got that wild he's a funny man. Just hanging out, Mike.
It does seem like an unlikely shirt for you to wear.
That's true. That's true. We are supposed to wear the shirt at the office and the T-shirt at the when you're doing VC.
No, I'm all black when I come to work. Yep. all of those revolting dusty books get all over my nice shirts otherwise.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're saying. Oh yeah, that guitar and violin duel on that song, Fairport Convention song. Where does the time go? When I heard that was my in. That blew my mind. It was like such an amazing track. How it just builds and builds and builds. And yeah, and I think I got like about 5 or 6 Fairport albums now, and got some couple of Pentangle and yeah, and a few Bert Jants. So I'm a regular English folk head these days.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I guess I have to think about that now. No.
More cash to spend. Sorry, Brian.
That's like
It's like anything though. It's like the good stuff is really good, but when you think of when I was younger anyway and into punk rock and indie, and you have a particular idea in your head about punk, about folk, and it seems a bit, I don't know, Pete Seeger, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing against Pete Seeger, but it just sounds at that age, it was just so old hat and didn't sound cool at all to me.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't. That's why I don't write off any genre at all. There's always the crap and the really really good stuff as well.
Right.
Even country music.
That's a hard sell for me. Yeah.
I know. That's
what is that? Heaven's Self? I never heard of that.
Oh no, I said it's a hard sell for country music. I just it's maybe the genre that I dislike the most.
I have a genre that I hate, probably this operetta, light opera. My grandmother used to listen to that.
Yeah.
I didn't think outside of rock and roll, but
rock and yeah, country depends. When it has some little bit of acid folk. Can we say Townes Van Zandt? No, it's not country, but Gene Clark with Duke Dillard. Banjo player.
You're talking my language.
I should also say that I think new country is far worse than, traditional, if I can say that. Country,
Well, you mean like it sounds more like pop music with the twang than Yeah, that's not my bag either at all. I like a lot of well, you know what they call, to me, a lot of like the good bands in Americana sound more country to me than what's supposed to be country, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
It's just got that, I don't know, a bit more authenticity to them.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, and speaking of country and folk, they have a fairly decent section at the Sonic Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't buy any country or folk today. I realize nothing.
I did the John Martin. Yeah.
It's very unusual for you.
Looking here, no country, no folk.
Yeah.
But I did buy this. Maybe I'll tell you about this one. I did buy this record,
Frippinino.
which I've had on CD forever, but I guess I don't use the term grail, but I've been looking for this for a long time, and found a nice clean copy of it today.
Wow, that's nice.
pretty cool.
So do you prefer that or no pussyfooting?
I think no pussyfooting is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But still, this is pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice find.
So that was good. It's been on my mental want list for a long time.
Mm.
Because of Brian Eno or because of Robert Fripp?
Both. It's
Oh.
perfect marriage. Perfect marriage. I'm a huge King Crimson fan. Always liked Fripp's guitar work. And Eno, I don't know, something about Brian Eno. I think he's never done anything wrong. Never done anything bad. I love everything he's done. The early pieces.
Yes, he has.
And what?
Yes, he has. His association with you too.
Okay. All right.
I reckon he even would admit he had a brain fade in the 80s when he did that.
Well, yeah, fair enough, but I don't know. I find him quite interesting. So
I read
It's
an-
funny when you say Robert Fripp, because it is amazing. Because I'm not like a prog person, but it's amazing how
really didn't
lot
know
of it-
about that.
on the periphery of a lot of new wave and things like that in post. I'm just going to plow through Romulad. I heard you being a smartass then.
yeah, well, the three '80s Crimson albums are sort of new wave as well as prog, really.
But yeah, all those dudes are on the periphery, like how you get people like Phil Collins playing on some of those new wave records and things like that, and Fripp turns up on a lot of stuff as well. It's sort of on borderline on the edge with some things. It's quite interesting how the people who came from a lot of punk bands who ended up in new wave and they were like, completely anti-prog. It's just interesting to me that they ended up collaborating with a lot of these people.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because apparently you used to have to pick a side back in the punk years.
This is what we do when we are at the high school. No, pick a side, pick a camp,
Yeah.
adopt the attire with the wearing, the hat, the t-shirts.
Oh, yeah, you
the
gotta-
attitude.
Your dress, your attire has to be correct.
Yeah. When I was in high school, there were like basically two different teams.
That's it. Only two.
Yeah, hip hop and metal. Marilyn Manson, the Blink 182. Alternative rock, neo metal stuff. There were probably more teams, but they were like barely visible.
Right. Yeah.
No, my school was just all metal, or you were a sport head, or what do you call them, jocks. It was total metal. The people who were metal, they'd open up their locker and they'd have their posters of their metal. Like, this is the 80s, so
Right. Yeah.
The worst. Sorry.
go with. I had to navigate my way through that world while secretly listening on my Walkman to my uncles made me tapes of XTC and Ian Jury and things like that, which was not very cool at my school.
And you're the only one who had sex and drugs and rock and roll, and not the metalhead.
No.
Oh yeah.
Very
Sorry, I tried it.
Mm.
Oh, the Breakfast Club. Yeah,
Fantastic.
I never watched that
Which
movie
one were
until,
you, Richard?
yeah, I never watched that movie until probably last year. It wasn't my generation. I was born in '86,
Mm.
and I think it wasn't even available on VHS in France. So yeah, last year I was like, okay, I need to watch that movie for once. And yeah, it's the one who I think Simple Minds. They were playing in small clubs in South France 6 months prior,
Yeah,
and then it
exactly.
skyrocketed.
Yeah, and originally they didn't even want to be associated with that
Yeah,
song or that
true.
film.
That's true. Yeah,
It had to be
yeah.
tucked into it.
That's
And
don't don't you forget about me was
Yeah,
Breakfast Club, was it? I
yeah,
haven't seen it for a very long time, so
yeah.
I'm not a Simple Minds fan, but I do have the 12-inch of Love Song. I reckon that is
That might be all you need.
brilliant. That is brilliant. I love that song. There was
oh
it clicked with me.
I think we lost him.
yeah,
Oh, am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great Melbourne band called Black Cab, and they're just all electronic and really, really good stuff. And I saw them one time, and they encored and they played Love Song by the Simple Minds, and the song just clicked for me, and then I had to find that 12-inch.
Yeah.
It's such
Wow.
a cool song.
There's a good one.
That's where they picked.
it's this. My relation is the same with Ultravox. I totally overlooked the first albums, and I recently listened to. I don't have a copy, Empire and Dance, and
Yeah.
now I regret. I think probably not the first, but starting with Empire and Dance. Yeah, they had their sound. I think they already had found their sound.
Well, by then, but the first two are probably a little off the sound, right? The first one especially. I think they grew into it. But I mean, the first one is quite different if you ask me, but
I don't know this one. No,
Yeah.
never. Yeah.
Real Life. That's the first one, right? Yeah.
I tell you, Morton, he's got me on a bit of a Depeche Mode jag at the moment.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Which I've always liked them, but hadn't really spent a lot of time with them. And there's those sort of records around the late 80s, early 90s are fantastic. Like I didn't expect to like them as much as I did.
I'm surprised by that.
I'm full of surprises.
No, I think if I would go on a desert island and only with only 2 records from new wave '80s, yeah, probably Closer and Violator.
Right. So you're saying Joy
Violator
Division
is amazing.
Yeah,
and Joy Division? Closer?
yeah, Joy Division, Closer, and Depeche Mode, Violator, which is funny because one was made exactly at the early stage of the '80s, and the other one was released in March 1990, but produced, I think, late '89.
Wouldn't you want some more uplifting music rather than Joy Division? Imagine like one of your 2 records is Joy Division. I mean, it's not really a. Oh no.
Well,
yeah, you're right.
by Romuald's rationale, it's got to be new wave records, and I'm trying to scan through my head. Uplifting new wave records is pretty tough.
New Order.
Yeah.
Later on, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
The album There for me it plays like a greatest hit. Human League. There it's can't get tired of listening to. Not keep feeling fascination. That's the only track which is not on that one, but the old. Yeah.
Well, the most uplifting new wave record has to be Pelican West from Haircut 100. I mean, that has to be the most feel-good new wave record, if you call it new wave.
I don't know about this
I
one.
don't know much.
No.
What was their big song? I'd probably know that.
Love Plus One.
Yeah, that's not doing it for me. I can't remember. I probably, if I heard it, I'd remember it.
Yeah,
because I know the name.
Yeah, Blondie. Look, the Scottish guy, Blondie. How about And how
The
about
Scottish guy.
yeah,
Jack.
yeah, Jack. He knows that I'm kidding. We talk all, yeah. Why the talking heads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Magazine make a happy song? I don't think so.
No,
Mm.
I don't think so.
I
sounds
think I've now realised that all the new wave I like is not happy at all. I don't have any of the happy new wave ones you've
they,
mentioned.
they were happy new wave. It called Italo disco. So the English say, okay, not for me.
Well, there must be some happy OMD songs, right? Electricity,
Wow,
Tesla Girls.
I'd have to go back and scan and go through your videography of them to
Right.
check out which one out of their 30,000 records that is.
Yeah, they're playing here soon, but I'm not going.
Really?
Well, the tickets are $150 plus taxes. So I'm not paying that kind of money.
Oh, God. Where are they? Are they playing a decent sized place, are they?
It's a place called History. It's God, I don't even know. It mustn't be more than 3,000, maybe less even. I'm not sure. I don't know the capacity. Yeah.
Okay. That is a bit. If you convert that into Australian dollars, it's probably like nearly $300.
That's ridiculous, right?
Mm. Yeah. A guy who I work with who's into music and bands, he made a big statement of what did he say? I'm not going to any more shows this year which are through Ticketmaster. And I'm like, yeah, going to be not going to any international band shows then. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, he has a point. I think they came from New Zealand. I think, weren't they?
Split Ends. Yeah, they're from New Zealand.
Yeah.
They're a great band, actually.
Yeah. In case you missed the start of the stream, this is because of you, Ben. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
You know what? I haven't heard it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just got it.
Yeah. I saw you talking about this one, David Atkinson, Brian here, and I think I read some stuff online. You know, I didn't do the proper job. Okay, let's face it. And then I saw that. I said, hey, I will grab this. And I asked Brian, hey, Brian, did you pay less? And he was like, this is an OG copy you got. I found the reissue. I said, oh, yeah, that's an OG copy. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
So stupid am I? Yeah. No, I don't.
If you're going to get one, that's the one to get.
Yeah.
It's funny how I've been looking for that, and there it is after I bought my reissue. There it is in the store. So pretty funny.
Yeah. And the stupid French from Montreal still, yeah. Yeah. You have to do the same. You come over to Montreal, and I will take you to my place, and you will be like, "Hey, I found it."
That's right.
Yeah. It's got to be expected, though. It's like that. I suppose it's like that beginner's luck kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you go to your local all the time, and you're kind of like, haven't seen anything for ages. And then you bring someone else, and everything's there.
Yeah.
This is also something Fred recommended to me. This is
that's a great record. I have that.
Yeah, Buffy St. Mary, mid-70s. Yeah,
she's very topical in the news lately, though, right?
Oh, I haven't heard. Is it positive or negative?
Well, it's negative.
Oh, okay.
Well, the CBC broke the CBC broke a story of how she's not really Indigenous.
Ah, okay.
That was big news. And I think she had some honors revoked. She's fought back, but apparently, and I haven't watched the documentary. It was a long documentary about how she was born to Caucasian people somewhere nearby Boston, I think, something like that.
Mm.
Anyway,
Okay. Wow. So, that means I can't bring up that I have a craft copy of that album. It's gonna turn it into audiophile talk after that. But
Please no.
that's right.
Well, you can, but yeah.
nah, I just like a nice sounding record as much as the next person.
Yeah.
That's as far as I go. Like, I've probably got better than average gear, but I think probably all of us do compared to the average person
Right.
who would have a Bluetooth speaker, probably.
Or no stereo system at all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While still enjoying the music.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty satisfied with the Toronto Hall, March 2025. Yeah.
Mm. When I was there last year, you guys took me, like, even though it was only for a day or two, just from that short time, there's some really good record stores, which if I had been there longer, or I had the advantage of living there to be able to really get stuck in and spend a fair amount of time in there, I'm sure I would have found heaps of stuff. I was kind of, when you just go a bit crazy when you're in an unfamiliar record store and you like grab randomly almost of, yes, I know that looks good, I'll grab this, I'll grab that.
Although there are certain, I agree, and I think Toronto has amazing record stores, but every once in a while I'll see something that I'm interested in, and I'll check online at some of the stores that have online systems, and no one has it.
Oh, okay.
So it's really frustrating. I don't know, like there are certain things you'd expect them to have, and sometimes they just don't have it. So, but I agree. Generally speaking, we're kind of spoiled here because there's a lot of record stores in the city.
Yeah,
they're really pretty good.
We have a stupid amount considering where we are in geographically in the world. Like, Melbourne's a pretty big city. I think we've actually overtaken Sydney as the largest population now.
Ooh.
Another reason why we're better. But yeah, the only thing is, like, I don't know how many new release records you buy, and that's one thing in the VC where you see people show records, which is like, we won't get them for another month, kind of thing. So it can be a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know what the reason is for the lag, or because it's not like the 70s where you'd have to wait for imports forever. Not that I was buying records in the 70s.
No.
Yeah.
I've heard stories.
But you know, when we're taking the example of that Civic record I bought, there is an Australian version, a UK version, different colors, all are manufactured the same place in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
So
that's
okay.
That's where a lot of Australian records are pressed. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a lot of the like, especially all the punk bands over here, because there's a few labels like Legless and Anti-Fade and Poison City Records and stuff like that. And for example, like Anti-Fade have a distributor deal with Ghana Records in the US, so they look after all their stuff over there, and and all the other little labels do similar things. So that's why there's still different versions and covers and all that sort of thing. So I guess that thing still exists in more independent, smaller label music, which used to, how in the I don't want to say the word, but like the Beatles people talk about all the different releases, and because back in the day there were different markets and blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said the B word.
Oh well, it had to happen.
No worries.
We might up the amount of people who watch.
I think the
They
VC
just scan the internet for beetles.
I think the VC is probably one of the few places where the Beatles are overrated.
I don't know. There's a lot of channels out there.
I'm saying in the VC, not sure on the real life, radio stations or a neighborhood or whatever, that they get so much attention or love.
Mm.
Right.
Sure, hop on. Just putting a link. So yeah, we're having indeed for a Three Continents live stream. Cool.
You're going to have the Four Continents live stream for about 4 minutes because I have to get back to work.
Well, it'll be some sort of record anyway. So,
yeah. G'day, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
How are you doing?
Good.
This is for you. This is a record I had in mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, guilty pleasure section. Yeah.
Nice to see you, Ben and Brian.
Nice
You
to
too,
see
mate.
I'm a massive fan of Brian. Ben's
What?
okay, but yeah. I think I was the first person to ever subscribe to Ben.
You were.
I should get around to watching your channel.
Look what you've created.
I know. Created a monster, haven't I? Look, I've got a friend here. Look.
Oh, Colton. No, not Colton.
Australian robbery.
Yeah.
I've just got home from work, so my cat's having to get used to my new regime, so I've just fed him. So.
I forget the cat's name though. Was you?
Curtis.
Curtis. Yes.
Yeah, it's a hybrid of Joy Division and some soul singer from the 70s.
Ian Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah, that's the one.
That was too much of a mouthful, so just Curtis.
How's life in the UK?
Yeah, I'm buying loads of bottled water and tin food at the moment. It's gonna get nasty, isn't it? So we've been told to buy bottled water.
Really? Oh.
No, we haven't. But I'm buying it. Look, I've got it here. Look.
That's what's happening in Queensland at the moment for completely different reasons.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
They're on cyclone watch, which could drop any day.
No, there's a few people in the vinyl community, and when there's kind of things going on around the world, like I can remember when the Ukraine kind of war started, and there was a few people, they stopped making videos for a while because they said that Brian might have done that. He felt uncomfortable talking about going to record shows, and there's stuff going, but there's always a war on somewhere, isn't there? So
I didn't take any pauses. I kept going.
yeah, there was a few people. I think Gateful 33, Dale.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think he felt a bit guilty for a couple of months buying records because of Putin, but he's got enough records as it is.
That's true.
I only
It didn't
take
occur to me not to
go
be.
on holidays.
Yeah.
So last night I was able. So in the last hour, I was like in the office. So I put my phone on. I was listening to Rob, Northern Revolutions. You go on there sometimes, don't you, Brian?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was listening to that, and then tonight I had the misfortune of catching Rommy's live stream. So I was listening to that. For listening to it, I thought I'll hop on for a. I don't know how long you're going to be on for.
No plan.
No plan.
No plan. Yeah.
Because I'm off work now, so I finish on Friday, like now, and then I'm not back in till like Monday night. So my plan was come home, go to bed early, and then maybe get up about 10 o'clock, and then you've got kind of a full weekend. But I'll stay up and keep you company for a while if
So
you want.
I'm glad I was able to ruin your night, to ruin Ben rankings
No,
lunchtime.
Well,
I'm
Well,
glad.
speaking of which, it's 2 p.m. and I have to get back to work.
Hey,
My
thank you
lunch
very
break.
much for hopping on during the lunch break. Much
No
appreciated.
trouble. Sorry.
Nice to see you.
Hope you enjoyed my record collection behind
Beautiful.
me. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Take
Yeah.
care, guys. Thanks for having me. See
Bye-bye.
ya.
Bye. Yeah. It
When-
was a big cover of the White Album he has on his back, and he didn't want to talk about the Beatles. You see how Ben Rankings is.
I've never spoken to Brian live.
That's correct. This is the first time.
Yeah, and I've never spoken to Ben. So when I drove home, I put my phone on. Ben was still on. So I thought, oh, nice one. But I spoke to you, Romy, because I used to go on Ranking the Obscure. Then I used to go on there, didn't you, a few times?
Yeah. The thing is, the plan has changed because back in the day, I was working from home, and it's fine. It's 8 p.m. in the UK. I think your time.
Yeah, right.
To me, it's like middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
But now it's like my presence is required. 4 days a week. So when it's time to be finally at home, you guys, or say you guys, Ian is about to an end. So
yeah. It's a shame you're not going to be in Den Bosch, though, isn't it? Because you went. Do you go in November? Was it?
No, not really. Not
you went last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I could go last year, but I cannot afford flying to Europe. Once a year, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
Brian, you went to Italy, didn't you?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
You did some fun videos, didn't you? There, I remember watching them.
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun.
Some of the record shops in Italy and what have you, that was shut and stuff.
Yeah, that was good. It was good. I didn't have as much time to visit record stores as I wanted to because the family was with me, so I couldn't do too much. But
they always get in the way, don't they?
They do. But it was pretty good though.
Yeah.
Even without hitting all the record stores I wanted to, it was still fun.
There's something nice in there about going to cities that you're not really that familiar with and just finding record stores, because we all get quite familiar, don't we, with our own stores. You kind of know what you're going to find, whereas when you go elsewhere, it's more exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And you couldn't even tell. I couldn't even tell from descriptions exactly what kind of store it was. And you walk in, it's like, oh, this is not really what I expected.
No, I remember. Yeah.
So pretty cool though.
I've never met. Is David Atkinson coming over to America?
He is.
He is.
Yeah, because I've never met David before, and I've never met. So it's David Atkinson and Gav, who I'm going down with.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I think it's 5 weeks. I'm going down on the Thursday night, staying at David's, and then we're getting up early on the Friday, getting over to Holland for sort of Friday evening, going out, having a few drinks, bite to eat, and then up early on the Saturday to go. And then I think we're going on Sunday as well.
Wow. So who's driving? You're driving in one? How are you getting there?
Yeah, we're going in one car. So I think Dave. It's funny because David Atkinson, when you're in WhatsApp group with him, he's called Dave. So
Dave, yeah. I noticed that too.
Yeah. So I don't know whether to call him David Atkinson or Dave Atkinson, but yeah, Dave. I'll say Dave, even though I've not met him. Yeah, we're going to be. He's going to be driving us. So I'm not sure what now we're not in the EU. I'm not sure what the regulations are, for bringing stuff. I don't know about that, to be fair.
Yeah, I was wondering that earlier. It came up earlier, and I was wondering what the deal with.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah.
About that.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I've not been to Holland for about 10 years, so looking forward to going back. But I'm not really going for I'm not You were saying you go with a list, weren't you, Ron? Do you have a bit of a list when you went?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a plan. I was like printing the plan. Saying, hey, I have to go there because I was on the lookout for certain Brazilian stuff. So yeah.
What
That's
about you,
fabulous.
Brian? You won't have a plan, would you?
No, I don't have a list.
No.
It's too much work. And honestly, I find that when I have a list, if I go in the store with a list, I'm so concentrating on the list that I don't really see anything else. So I prefer not to have one.
Yeah. You're the same as me. I never go looking for anything, but I always find something. So, that's how it works, isn't it, really?
Yeah, the thing is, in Den Bosch, you have to check not every sellers, but okay, here's has most punk stuff, more rock. The other has more folk, whatever, jazz.
Yeah.
To prepare a little bit in advance, because otherwise you're like, oh, it's too much, and you won't be able to visit all the 700s table.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even bothered about the records. I'm just going for a good weekend, really. I'm looking forward to spending a bit of time with Dave and Gav, really, and having a bit of an adventure. I'm sure I will find some records. That'd be good, wouldn't it, if I went all the way to Den Bosch and couldn't find anything that I wanted. But yeah, I've got enough records here. I said that before in the comments. I've not got as many as Brian, but I've got a few. Brian, you've got loads, haven't you?
I think I have almost 4,000, 3,900, something like that. 38, maybe something around there.
You've never done like a room tour, though, have you, or anything like that?
It's because I don't really have this is might sound like a funny thing. This is my basement, and you might notice all this clutter because we're renovating. So everything that used to be on the first floor is down here. So, and my turntable was always upstairs. So I've never done a tour because I don't know, maybe I should do one when everything's finished and wrapped up here.
Yeah. I like it though, because you just you appeared on YouTube, didn't you? Sat, with all those records behind you, and you just started your channel, and like, loads of people are watching thinking, fucking hell, how many records has he got? Because we always do that, don't we? It's always impressive, isn't it, when you see a big wall. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 filming locations. Sometimes I sit at a table over there, and so you don't see any records, but it is, I never knew what was best to have like records behind me or not. And right now I've got a table and a painting here, but I mean, like, I never really was quite sure what the best approach is. I don't want to look like I'm egotistical or something, or like, so.
One thing I like about Brian's channel though. So how many parts were there in that OMD series?
Yeah, like
5 or 6, I think.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I like that series. Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like OMD, but I found there's one of my records. So there's a place in Rochdale which is quite close to where I work, and near a there's only one record shop in Rochdale, and I found out there used to be a recording studio around the corner, and OMD, I think they recorded some of the really early tracks there. And Atmosphere by Joy Division was recorded. I was going to do maybe a 2-minute video, from outside it. It's got like a blue plaque. Echo and the Bunnymen, Chameleons, Joy Division, all those post-punk Gang of Four. They all recorded there in Rochdale. Nice. So it's quite an interesting sort of backstory, because OMD was the first single. Was it on Factory? That?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wow.
So
and which label were they on after that?
I think they're on Din Disc. Is that right?
Din Disc. Yeah.
They're on Din Disc. No, we got. This is pretty funny. I paid money to Dave. I don't even know whether we're going. I think we're going from like Dover, or I presume. I don't think we're going from Hull, but to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, Dover to France, and then
That's what I'm thinking. Why is Jack up now? Does he work shifts as well? That's Jack, innit? He's in Scotland. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same time difference, isn't it, to where
Yeah.
I am? So why is he up now? It's like
I'm surprisingly, we surprisingly have lots of European.
yeah, he shouldn't be up now. No chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, you did that. How many parts were there in that Leonard Cohen? You did one on him.
Oh,
as well.
John Cale. John Cale.
Oh, honestly,
John Cale.
right. I really like Brian. Right. I cannot stand John Cale.
Really?
I cannot stand Leonard Cohen. Right.
Wow.
But I really like Brian. But yeah,
Okay. I did it on purpose. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's all right. No, yeah, John Cale. I think Jack likes John Cale,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
That's right.
Because he was talking about that Paris.
Paris
album.
1919.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about I can understand someone not appreciating Leonard Cohen because he's doesn't have a strong voice. But I think John Cale's more of a chameleon because his musical output is really varied from rock to
Yeah.
ambient to experimental. I find him quite interesting.
I've got one album by him.
Which
is it
one?
Artificial Intelligence.
Yeah, that's a middling album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the one I would recommend to
No.
start.
No. What would you recommend?
Paris 1919,
Oh God.
or the Island Years trilogy, Fear, Slow Dazzle, and Helen of Troy. Those are fantastic.
A few years ago, I was at a boot sale. I saw this Leonard Cohen album for £1, and I thought, I can't believe it, because I didn't have any. I had one Leonard Cohen album that I never played. You know, the one with Susanna. Is that the debut?
The debut, yeah.
Yeah, I got that for 10p on vinyl.
Nice.
Yeah, and, you know, when people were literally giving records away, and so I found that. Is it Love and Hate? Is it called?
Songs of Love and Hate.
Right. Yeah, I did hate it, honestly. So
Well, that's a difficult record.
honestly, I played it and I was listening to it, and I played it to the end, and honestly, it was agony. I couldn't. It was absolute agony.
That's a depressing record. There's no question.
Yeah, yeah. But I like Lloyd Cole, and he's a little bit of a massive fan, isn't he, of Leonard Cohen? So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So no, but I still love Brian's channel. But you know,
We all do.
yeah, he's good, isn't he? He's He's in the top 5, I think.
Hardly.
Yeah, you are.
What is your top 5? I would be curious to know about your top 5, Mr. Rob.
Top 5 final community channels.
We are talking about that, aren't we?
Have Brian in there, because the one thing about Brian is he buys records. So a lot of people in the vinyl community, they've got massive collections, but they never buy any records, do they? Whereas Brian, nearly every week you show a decent amount of records, don't you, that you buy, and you don't apologise for buying records either, which is what a lot of other people do. They feel guilty about buying records, don't they?
Well, you know what's funny is Ben was just on here, and I think he's been around for 3 years, and for almost all that time, he never showed new records. And it's not that he didn't buy them; he just didn't see the point of showing what he bought.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. My top 5 channels. Brian is one. Who else?
Voila.
Who?
No, I say just voila. I say here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got. It's always fun, isn't it? Fun doing shit like this. So you've got to name one as well, Brian, because you won't want to name anyone, will you? I'm trying to think. It's hard, isn't it? Because there's not many good ones. I quite like Jack, actually, because he's someone else and he buys collections, and he's quite refreshing, isn't he? He's quite laid back. And when he did that, he did that song, didn't he? That was really good.
That is true.
So I think I'd have Jack as he's like a new entry, isn't he? He's like a new channel. I met a guy in, that Me Digger, You Viewer. You've watched that channel, haven't you?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah. So I met a guy. I was in a massive thrift store where I buy cheap CDs, and this guy just came up to me, and he just shook my hand, and then walked away. And I'm like looking at him. I'm thinking, do I know you? So he says, oh, yeah, what's your channel? So then I got chatting to him. And I said, oh, why don't you start a channel? And he says, oh, do you get recognised? I said, oh, yeah, you're always getting recognised. He said, so I won't be able to handle it. I thought, it's not that bad. So anyway, he started a channel about 2 days after. But he doesn't show his face. He just shows the records.
Yeah.
But he's got a really interesting taste in music. He'll show stuff you've never heard of. But he puts like a playlist on his channel, so you can listen to the stuff he buys. So a lot of it's kind of just really different stuff. He's called Me Digger, You Viewer, he's called.
Oh.
He's got about 70 subscribers. And he's called Charlie. He's a really nice guy. So he's one of my favourite channels as well. Because he's just started. So,
all right.
Romy, you've not mentioned anyone, so you've got to say someone.
My favorite channel.
Not your favourite, but just someone you like watching. Don't say Big Star 2000 or whatever he's called.
Why?
No, he's annoying him. Don't say him.
Why?
No, just don't, because you're always talking about him. So talk about someone else.
Okay, so someone else I follow. Wouldn't say Brian. He knows I comment almost every his videos. So
Brian, you do get quite a lot of comments on your videos, don't you?
Yeah, I guess I do. I also I think most people respond to them, and so that helps. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes I don't though.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. So many channels, so many
really average channels. What about MGK? You've got to give him a shout out, haven't you?
I was just going to mention him because he's sort of like a connector.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah.
So as you know, people went to Boston, and because of that, so I feel like he's important in terms of bringing people together.
Yeah, that's his role, isn't it? Not really music, just bringing people together. Yeah.
That and his cat and Friday Cheers.
Yeah, his cat steals the show, doesn't he? Really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What about in the UK then? You've got James Griffiths. I think he's someone who quite likes Brian. I've noticed him in the comments.
Yeah, I like James's channel. It's good. But I mean, yeah, he's good. There's a lot of good. I watch Gatefold 33. I watch Gav Axman Spins.
Yeah, Gav. Yeah. The one thing about James though, he really makes an effort, doesn't he, to kind of, different subjects.
Yeah.
He comes up with his own. They don't always work, by the way, but he don't just do Final Finds. He'll do them, but he has his own ideas, doesn't he? And some of them really work.
He seems very learned.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's good.
So yeah, let's take two channels from the UK. Yeah, Mike Vinyl Spirals and David Atkinson are probably in my top 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not the channel, it's the personage. I really like the guys.
Yeah, I forgot about David Atkinson, even though I'm going to be spending 4 days with him. Yeah. The thing with David though is he takes you on a bloody journey, doesn't he, on his bike and everything.
Yeah.
So, that can be quite tedious, can't it? But you have to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people like to film in public and film themselves digging. I'm not always comfortable doing that, or walking down the street and with a selfie stick. I think David has a selfie stick, right? He's walking down the street.
Yeah. The thing with David though is, I think he said it before. He kind of he's doing it as for his kids when he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
He's doing like a story of his. He's put because he says things in his videos, quite things, doesn't he? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched his last video when he went to Newcastle,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
did.
he
Yeah,
was talking about his early life and stuff. It's pretty interesting when he does that.
That's
yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, he's one of the best. I mean, Mazzy does that kind of thing, doesn't he? You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Who?
but that's also, you know, not everyone's comfortable sharing that kind of information
No,
online
that's
too.
true.
So
That's true. But
I try to stick to the VCA related content. I try. In live stream is sometimes difficult when you have people like Stunty, you know. But a 10 minutes video, I won't start to talk about political.
no.
yeah.
Stunty's. I'm going to meet up with Stunty. I think.
Uh-huh.
Boss. He's booked his flight. He told me.
Yeah.
We were messaging. So
Steve Davies convinced him to do a second round.
yeah, Steve Davis. Yeah, he's quite famous in the UK.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in meeting Steve Davis. I'm not that bothered about meeting Stunty, really. You know what I mean? But it'd be more interesting meeting Stunty than actually. I don't know if you ever had you must have had some text messages off him. They go on forever, don't they? Have you ever had any?
No, we talk daily. Sometimes we talk
Well,
like
tell him I was slagging him off because
we talk.
he used to send me messages a few years ago, and honestly, I'd send him, "Oh yeah, I agree," and he'd send me, you know, like, "Yeah,
we talk on a, you know, we are both French, so it's much more easier, and
yeah,
and I prefer to talk than to, like, you know, typing a
yeah,
6 long message.
yeah." He likes sending a long message, Stunty.
Michael got it right. Yeah.
Yeah,
we like to talk. It's very Southern Europe, I think. The feeling we have, like we like to talk. You know, this is how you recognize a French person who can nerd about, you know, different culture. The smoke talk is not the same.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so guys, I think it's time to hit the button. 2 hours. Yeah.
I'll go to bed now then.
Yeah. Thanks for.
Bye. Good to see you.
Nice chatting with you, Rob.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
no
Rob.
problem. See you later, Robbie.
Cheers. Take care, Rob. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, thank you everyone in the chat. Nice to see you. See you next time.
All right. See you later.
Thank you, Brian, for co-hosting with myself.
No problem.